Good evening. Welcome to Live with Thrive, a podcast dedicated to empowering Black and Brown women, talking with them about their journeys, their hurdles, and victories to navigate the intricate landscape of womanhood, motherhood, and career. I'm your host, Dr. Allison Harris Welcher, the creator of Thrive Life Coaching. I'm excited to be here tonight with a very special guest whom I will introduce in just a moment. But if we have any new viewers, I'd love for you to take a moment to please introduce yourself. Let us know where you are tuning in from. If you are a returning viewer, invite you to do the same. Let us know where you are tuning in from. We're so glad to have you. We are streaming live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and encourage you to please do share with any women who are in your life that are navigating womanhood, motherhood, and career. Each episode, we dive into candid conversations with inspiring guests who generously share their personal narratives, insights, and strategies for triumph. From juggling the family duties that they have to pursuing personal and professional passions, these women really share priceless wisdom with each of us and motivation for each of you. So, whether you're balancing the demands of motherhood, excelling in your career, or seeking empowerment in womanhood, we hope that this podcast is your go to resource for inspiration, guidance, and support. So, again, join us tonight and hopefully in future episodes. Tonight, I'm excited to welcome our special guest, Nishay Conley, to our 11th episode. Let's bring Nishay to the stage. Hi,
Hey,
Nishay.
hey, how are you?
I am well. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Nishay Conley is a leading voice in health equity. She is a dedicated community health consultant, and she is on a mission to transform the healthcare landscape for Black women and families. So, in this episode titled Championing Health Equity, A Vision for Black Women and Families, we'll explore with Nishay her inspiring journey through her roles as a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur, and how she integrates all of these aspects of her life with her advocacy work. So we'll discuss the role of faith in her approach to creating impactful change as well. So I'm excited to jump in with Nishay and want to just start with just a few questions to warm us up so you can get to know Nishay a bit better. So, Nishay, if you could talk with us a little bit about one healthy habit that you have established that helps you to really thrive.
I lean into my faith. Regardless of what your spirituality is, I lean into my faith and knowing that God has a plan for me and that everything will be okay through Him.
Excellent. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I too am a woman of faith, and just being connected to the word and through prayer and fellowship is certainly a element of strength in my life for sure. So thank you for sharing. What's your favorite way to rest and rejuvenate?
Honestly, I have a me time. So sometimes if it's me just going in my room and just locking the door, or if it's me going, I love nature. So me going to like the park and just getting like the breeze and just connecting with the earth, that's something that can really pour into me.
Beautiful. I love that. And what's a core value that you hold and why?
Core values that we have to release stress and pressure and the superwoman syndrome
Mhm.
of we have to do all things. And I'm a victim of that.
Yeah.
Being a mother of 4 kids and a wife, I'm like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But I had to let it go to release just pain that my body was carrying.
Yes, I appreciate you sharing that. We had an episode previously about the superwoman syndrome and how
Mhm.
Black women oftentimes, believe we can do it all, and it's just not possible. It's just not
No.
possible. So, share with us what's a recent victory that you are proud of.
Oh, I have so many. For one, I'm getting my oldest to first grade. So that was
Congrats.
exciting. Yes, today was his second day, so that was exciting, a victory for all of us. But also, I'm a part of a lot of community organizations, and one of them I can't mention the name just yet, but I am a newest member of a nationally known organization. So
Nice.
whenever I can announce that, please, just so
Yes.
support way any way possible.
I will. I will. Well, congratulations in advance. And excited to hear that announcement.
Yeah.
Last question, just to warm us up. What's one activity or moment that brings you enjoyment and satisfaction?
My family,
Yeah.
honestly. I sometimes we get caught up into, like, work in the world and, we're running, 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 but my kids, when they see that I'm constantly going, they always come to me, "Mommy, are you okay?"
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
fact that I'm able to raise kids that can check in on me,
Yeah.
is definitely something those moments that mean so much.
I love it. Well, Mama, you are definitely doing something right. If your oldest is in first grade, meaning that everybody else is younger, if they are checking on you, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we're going to dive in a bit deeper with Nishay, but before we do that, again, want to invite folks to please let us know where you're tuning in from. Again, we are streaming on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Please tag and share with your family, your friends, your network for this great conversation. Also, I want to be sure to share a free resource. We are well past mid-year of 2024, so I know folks have some major goals that they are trying to reach by the end of the year, and it's not too late. It is not too late. And the best way to get ahead is to get started now. But I have a free guide that I want to share with folks to invite you to just consider how you might finish 2024 strong. So download that free guide and would love to have you finish the year strong. So let's go ahead and jump in, Nishay. You are an expert in public health, and I just want to hear, and you have so many talents. I want to hear, how do you describe yourself as a community health consultant? What is that? What does that mean? And help our listeners really understand what you do in the public health world.
Mhm. Thank you for that question. So, what makes me really stand out in the uniqueness of my work is that I use my personal beliefs and missions to drive and align me with clients or organizations that I work with. So, as a community health expert, I really focus on Black women and birthing people. In regards to maternal health, mental health, and chronic diseases. As we know, there's so many experts out there that are busting their butts, to change how things are looking for Black women and birthing people or Black families and young girls. But what I focus on is unanswered questions
Mm.
of certain topics, certain diseases, certain components of what it looks like in regards to the barriers that Black women, families, young girls experience. So I don't like to really I like to say I like to dig deep. I like to make people uncomfortable, right? Because
Mm.
that's the only way we can really figure out the root of all things. So being able to leave the surface and those surface conversations is not for me. I need to understand, what are
Mhm.
you feeling? Why are you feeling? What do your family look like? What's those cultural norms that
Right.
we experience that can cause us to continue on this path,
Yeah.
but to also backtrack so that we can look forward with a new change?
I love that. I love that. So what I hear you saying is talk about the things that people, are kind of hesitant to talk about. They really need to know. They really need to know these answers to these questions. And you create space, right,
Yes.
for those conversations to happen. I love it. So what really led you to advocate for health equity for Black women and families, particularly?
My own personal journey, my maternal journey. So I actually had a miscarriage my first pregnancy. I lost my first baby, and I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I knew miscarriage was a thing, so let me rephrase, but like, I felt so defeated. I felt like I couldn't have kids. I couldn't bear children. Like, I'm young, I eat healthy, I work out. I'm just like, what is happening? And then when I had that miscarriage and I opened up to people in my community, they will say, "Oh yeah, I had 4, I had 5, I had 6 miscarriages." And I was just like, "Wait, so this is a common thing. Like, why nobody talk about this?" Right? So when that experience happened, that first for me was like, okay, building a community that you can feel safe to be vulnerable in and
Yeah.
say, hey, I don't need the judgment, but I need to tell you, like, hey, I've been there. I understand this is how you can get through it, because I didn't have that until I spoke up. Going into my first live pregnancy, I had a white OBGYN, and I'm okay with that, and I didn't have a problem, but I brought some concerns that I had. I had symptoms of, like, floaters. There were, if you don't know what floaters are, they're like little silver dots that you can see, like dots you can see, in the air, because your vision, sometimes it can be, headaches. I was having migraines. So
Yeah.
when I brought it to my doctor, as I mentioned, she was a white OBGYN, she was just like, "Oh, you're okay. You're young, you're healthy, like, you're just working in, because I worked in the healthcare space. You're just working a lot, that's it." Fast forward to after I delivered my son, I actually had delayed preeclampsia, and that was my concern. It was that I was experiencing preeclampsia, and they had to hospitalize me and give me a magnesium drip so that I didn't have a seizure.
Mm.
So that situation right there told me, like, hey, even though I don't think she meant to cause any harm for me, like, and I know that, but the fact that she really did not take the time to listen to my concerns and actually push to say, okay, well, let me do some further testing to
Yeah.
make sure that it's not preeclampsia, because Black women and birthing people experience preeclampsia and
Absolutely.
other conditions related to it. So there was a second instance where I'm like, okay, now we got to figure out how we can communicate better, and medical
Right.
providers and professionals can
Right.
listen to us, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My second live pregnancy, it was during the pandemic, right at the beginning, April
Uh-huh.
2020. I had to deliver my baby with a mask. My
Yeah.
husband couldn't come in until they really thought I was in labor.
Mhm.
But again, it was the on-call OBGYN, and she said some racist statements to me. My son during that pregnancy name is Ethan. So she said to me, "Oh, your son doesn't want to come down because I was having trouble. Your son doesn't want to come down because you gave him a white boy name."
Wow.
Those were
Wow.
the exact words that she said to me. And
This is during labor.
this is during labor. Like, I'm literally like, she's like flipping
Wow.
me, she like doing all the things. And my husband, he's
Wow.
so sweet and he doesn't like conflict. So, both of us are like that. I'm a little bit more like, if I need to like turn up, I'm gonna turn up.
Right.
But
Right.
in
Yeah.
this situation,
Yeah.
I realized that I just had so many emotions because it's the
Mm.
pandemic. I
Yeah.
had preeclampsia with my son where, I
Mhm.
almost lost my life after delivering him. So I'm going through so many anxiety, like so much anxiety
Right.
going to this. And for her to say that to me,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
that's not appropriate. So again, these are situations that, even though I was a healthcare professional, like I worked in the healthcare space for 9 years, I
Yeah.
have my master's in public health, community health outreach. Like, I'm a well-educated woman. For
Right.
her to still be able to say, hey, you gave your son a white boy name, that's why he doesn't want to come down, and
Right.
continue to make racial comments,
Right.
showed me that if you can do that to me, you can do it to anyone else. And then that's when a lot more cases been coming up of Black women dying during labor because they're not being heard. Their
Yeah.
family don't know how to advocate. They don't know what questions to ask until it's too late.
Right.
It's those things that show me that health equity for
Yeah.
Black women is not just about, we're providing this resource for this community, so we're going to provide the same resource for this community. It's
Right.
about meeting us where we are and understanding our bodies and our uniqueness so
Yeah.
that we can have the same success as
Yeah.
our other counterparts.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, Nashay. And again, just sharing your story and your vulnerability through, I'm sure heartbreak, in just so many ways. And one of the things I want to lift up is what you're saying, just, us as Black women and birthing people to be able to have safe spaces, not only physically, right, to birth and, deliver our babies healthy and well physically, but also mentally and emotionally, right? That's something we don't talk about a lot, right? To be in a space that you are healthy emotionally and mentally, and someone is treating you well, that's
Exactly.
meaningful too, because that level of stress also is uncomfortable, right?
Exactly.
And can cause a lot of pain.
Yes. And to piggyback on that, people remove or disconnect the two, mental health and physical health. And the only way we can really optimize our physical health is if we dig into our spiritual, emotional, and mental health. That is
Mhm.
the start of things. When we can build the self-awareness and being able to build the confidence to say, "Hey, something is wrong. I don't know what's going on. Can you please help me?" Because we have so many issues historically with the Tuskegee, experiment. That's what really, for the Black community, that's what really bridged, like broke that gap.
Yeah,
Separate that gap more for us to trust the healthcare space. So when it comes down to mental health, emotional health, spiritual well-being, we have to realize we have to dig deep into that to be able to be physically well for ourselves and for our families.
absolutely. Well, switching gears a bit, talking about being well for our families, you hold a number of critical roles, right, in your life. Obviously, you're a community civic leader, an advocate, you're a wife, mother, entrepreneur. Talk
Mhm.
with us around how you navigate these roles and whether this balancing act came naturally to you or if
Mhm.
it's something you've grown into now being a
Mhm.
mother of four.
Mhm. Yep. My Lord and
Yeah.
Savior. Honestly, I'm a transparent person, right? So at first, at the beginning, I didn't have a strong relationship with God. And it was because of my family. My family didn't have a strong relationship with God. So it took for me to be put in an uncomfortable situation. I graduated from Spelman College, my
Yeah.
Spelman sister.
Yes.
During my first year at Spelman, I really connected with God because I stepped out on faith, even though I didn't know what it looked like. I
Yeah.
stepped out on faith
Yeah.
and I went to church service because I didn't know how I was going to make it to my second semester at Spelman.
Mhm.
Mind you, this is my freshman year. So once I did that, one of her Spelman sisters, I don't know her name. I don't know
Uh-huh.
what class she was a part of, but I walked up to the altar and she just prayed over me.
Yeah.
And I can see her face, and I always tell myself, if I ever see her again, I'm gonna, like, DM stalk her. I'm gonna, like, because she is the reason why
Mm,
I am a God-fearing woman, because
yeah.
it was uncomfortable for me. So going into, like, what really my core of how I manage life and the things that I do. Like, one of my sons is autistic on a spectrum. I like to say he's socially different, because he's highly intelligent, but it comes with challenges, and
Mhm.
we have to understand the foundation of our family. We have to create that foundation in our family, and not only God, but my partner, the man that God put in my life, my husband. When
Mhm.
I tell you balance, I don't believe in balance. I don't. Like, I just don't, 'cause
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
prioritize things. That's how I look at it. You have to understand how to
Yeah.
prioritize life, the things that need to get done, and understand that if you gotta put something to the side, it's okay, but my husband shows up every day, every
Yeah.
minute, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do the things that I am doing without him and God.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, Nishay. Thank you so much for sharing just that story and your strong faith. And so you talked about prioritization,
Mhm.
and I'm sure consistency comes into mind. You know, when you're juggling all of these roles, what strategies, yes, your prayer life, your
Mhm.
connection to God, but, what are some of the things that you're doing to make sure you stay grounded and you're not getting pulled in so many directions?
I take some time for me. Even if
Yeah.
it's 5 minutes, if I feel myself getting overwhelmed, I
Mhm.
take a step back.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
take a step back and it's okay. So, how I start my day where I actually meditate, I read my Bible scriptures, and get my husband, make sure to pull all the kids away so I can have my safe space and my time to myself. So I start my day with that, and then I work out afterward. So it just gives me that clear mind, body, soul in the morning, and then I can pour into everyone else and support everyone else. And that's something that's crucial for us, is to understand that we need our own time.
Mhm.
I have
Yeah.
I I have 2 planners, girl. I'm a planner. I'm organized and I be jotting 3
Yeah.
top part, like, that's me. But
Yes.
I make sure to implement 5 to
Yeah.
10 minutes in between each task, because it also enhances my productivity throughout
Yeah.
the day. And I
Yeah.
know, okay, hey, this can happen or push back a little bit. So, but that's okay, because I communicate well as well with organizations or my family
Yeah.
members. No, Imma get to it,
Yeah.
but just not right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love that. I love that. Right. And these practical strategies really do work, right? They help to just give you the breathing space that you need, right, in
Yes.
order to continue to show up in all of these roles that you hold, which I love so much. And so, jumping back to our early part of the conversation, you talked about community and how much community is a part of just what you do. And so, one of the victories is using your personal experiences to build communities. And so,
Mhm.
how have you used your journey as a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur to forge meaningful connections? And what has been the impact of your family and community?
So I think about it this way. I have two sons. My two oldest, I have four kids. I have a 5 year, six, he's six now. I
Yeah.
have a 6 year old, 4 year old, 2 year old, 1 year old. So two boys, two girls.
Uh-huh.
And I think about what I wanted and what I had wanted to inspire to have as a child growing up, to be able to mentor me and to motivate me and to make me feel safe and make me
Mhm.
feel like I can achieve whatever I want to put my mind into, and I can get through the obstacles that are thrown in my life. So when I think about, hey, what did I want for myself? And then I think about the spaces that my kids are in now.
Yeah.
And then I make myself uncomfortable because I'm a firm believer that growth is in uncomfortable situations and
Right.
the things that we do. So for me, for my kids to be able to thrive and to grow within their own right and their own being, as mommy, I
Mhm.
have to be able to build those communities that I feel that they can be safe with, that
Yeah.
I feel safe with, that I can trust with, my kids. As I
Mhm.
mentioned, one of my kids is socially different, and our babysitter, I love her to death, is a mom and daughter duo when
Yeah.
they watch kids, but she's an occupational therapist. And
Yeah.
I didn't know that when I first met her.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Like, I met her through my husband's job because both our husbands work together, and she told me, and I was just like, God is putting people in my life that
Right.
I need.
Yeah.
And I had a bad situation or experience before with my son, with somebody that I allowed to watch them. So I had trust issues.
Sure.
So when
Sure.
she came up and God knew I needed it, it was just like, you know what? People come in our life for a reason, but you gotta vet them, you gotta trust them, you
Sure.
gotta see how they are with your family, you gotta see how they are within their faith and their families, how they
Yes.
speak, the things that they say into the universe. If I feel like you out of pocket and you saying some things I don't agree with, I
Sure.
ain't bringing you around my kids. I ain't
Yeah.
bringing you around my husband. Like,
Right. Right.
that's just me. But you gotta be able to be vulnerable and open to see
Yeah.
how you can be receptive to that.
I love that. I love that. And God sent, right? Just
Yes,
like being able to put into the space and universe what it is, and God knows the desires of our heart and always knows what we need, and just
yes,
amazing, right? An occupational therapist, right? To be with all of your children, to provide support. I love it. I love it. So, what advice would you give to other women who are striving? We won't use the word balance, right? But
okay,
striving for fulfillment in
okay,
their roles as mothers, as professionals, as advocates, entrepreneurs.
mhm.
What would you say to them?
Be able to departmentalize.
Mhm.
I struggled with that before where I just kinda allowed everything to pile on me, and I kinda mix a lot of things together. So being able to do that not only gave me a clear mind and focus, so when
Mhm.
I know I'm working on a community program for my business, I'm not focused or thinking about, okay, what the kids got going on in school. Did they read a book?
Mhm.
Okay, I gotta plan our monthly date night with my husband. I ain't
Yeah.
thinking about what my mom or my sister's doing. I know in that time, in that space, I have separate books. I have a notebook for each thing. Now that might be excessive, but it works for me. Find what
Yes.
works for you, right?
Yeah.
That's the good part. Find what works for you because what may work for someone else may not work for you, and that is okay. That does not mean that you're doing it wrong. You need to
Yeah.
figure out what can allow me to feel like, okay, I am focused, I can do this, and place it to the side when you need to move something else.
Yeah.
Again, prioritizing those things that need to get done, but making
Mhm.
sure that you're creating space for you to be able to be relaxed and don't get overwhelmed or have that anxiety that I didn't get something done. So find what works for you, lean into that, and it may always change, and that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, because different seasons. As we go through different seasons, we need different things.
Exactly. Like summertime, I was like, listen, I'm gonna have all four of my kids with me. So
Yes,
I had
yes.
to figure out a schedule that worked, that I'm not like I'm about to pull my hair out or, you know. So yes, different seasons for different things, but we have to lean into that.
I love that. I love that. Nishay, this has been such an enjoyable conversation. I want to make sure that our listeners know how to get involved with your work and support the causes that you're passionate about. If you could just share with us, how can they stay connected with you?
So I'm on all the platforms. So I'm really engaged and active on all of them. So LinkedIn is Nishay Conley. On Facebook is Nishay Conley. Instagram is at underscore Nishay the health expert. And I do have an event that's coming up called Unanswered Questions. And these questions come from Black women in the community, Black women and birthing people within my community that's being introduced to me. So if you ever have a question, please always, connect with me and message me because it's me responding. Um, so that I can let you know how you can be a part of the journey, how you can be a part of the mission to actually create movement for Black mothers and birthing people.
Love that. Love that. And I have the flyer here. I had the pleasure of joining the last Unanswered Questions webinar, which was amazing. Nishay curated Black women from around the country who were
Mhm.
sharing their own personal stories. I was so inspired. I sent it to my niece who is expecting her first child. And she's like, Auntie, what's this? It's like, you need to listen. You need to log on. So I'm going to make sure that she is tuned in. I am
Mhm.
hearing a little birdie told me that my own OB will be a part of this next event, Dr. Mala Freeman Kwaku. If you all have been a part of the episode, she was on a previous episode, episode 10
Mhm.
with us. So you do not want to miss this event. You do need to register to attend. So we'll be sure to drop that link if you're following Nishay or I on social media. We will be sure to add the link so that you can follow along and register for this event. So, Nishay, before we officially close out here, would love for you to just leave final thoughts or words of encouragement for women who are seeking to thrive.
Mhm. Honestly, trust God's plan for you, and that's how you can thrive.
Mm, mm, yeah.
That's it.
That's it. Trust God's plan for you. I love it. Well, listeners, please join me in giving a virtual applaud to Nishay Conley, my Spelman sister, a public health expert. She did not share. She is struggling with a bit of a sore throat, but girl, that was nowhere to be heard. You showed
Thank
up, and this
you.
is kind of what we do as Spelman women. When it's time to
Okay,
show up,
I
we
don't
just show
know.
up. We show up and we show out. So, sis, I appreciate you. And thank you so much for your time this evening.
Of course, thanks for having me. Good night.
Absolutely. Good night. Thank you again so much for joining this episode. Again, we just spoke with Nishay Conley on championing health equity, a vision for Black women and families. So grateful that you were here for this conversation. I do hope that you were able to get something from the conversation, whether it's about how your faith can empower you in seeking fulfillment in all parts of your life, departmentalizing, figuring out ways to really narrow in and focus in on the task at hand and prioritize. So, as we prepare to close out, I just want to again invite you to download your free guide to finish 2024 strong. We are excited that this year is coming, potentially to an end. Summer, if it's been really hot for you, hopefully it's about to cool down. But it also means the year is ending. And so perhaps there are some goals that you really want to accomplish before the end of the year. And so I have a free guide for you to download in order to really reflect and create some intentional action steps to accomplish those 2024 goals before 2025 sneaks up upon you. Do want to invite folks and remind folks that I do offer free empowerment strategy sessions. I have a passion for empowering and coaching and developing Black and Brown women who are navigating the complexities of womanhood, motherhood, and career. Y'all, it is not easy out here in these streets. If you are trying to do it alone, that is not necessary. And so I hope that one, you have a tribe, you have a village that is holding you up, but also invite you to consider reaching out to me and scheduling some time just to talk through how you want to grow and seek fulfillment in all parts of your life as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a career woman, as a professional in this world. And last but not least, just want to again to say thank you for joining. Again, Thrive Life Coaching is on several platforms. Invite you to please follow me there. We are hosting podcasts about every other week. We are just wrapping up episode 11. So if you haven't been with us for the previous episodes, encourage you to be sure to catch those episodes. And we are now on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe on YouTube as well. And with that, we will close out. Thank you again for joining us this evening.